charming to the last. So I'm a little later getting on this news than I would like to be, but I kind of told myself I'm going to try and take the weekend off, and I still kind of am. After I record this, I'm not jumping in to edit and upload it immediately, but I do still want to get my thoughts out there on what the current word is on what's happening with Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia in the Star Wars films. So what obviously had happened, Carrie Fisher had passed away, and it had not been planned for her to pass away. Obviously, I mean, you don't plan on death. Her character was not written out in episode 8, The Last Jedi, which comes out later this year. And the word is that she was supposed to factor rather heavily into episode 9. So the big scramble happened, and there were a lot of questions like, are they going to reproduce her through CGI like they did with Tarkin in Rogue One? Are they just going to have her die between episodes? Are they going to do reshoots so that she dies in episode 8? And we've got a pretty clear idea of what they're doing now. Now, we had already known, and it was shot down, they are not doing CGI Leia like they did with Tarkin in Rogue One. That is off the table, not happening. So that's gone. Episode 8 was not reshot or altered in any way so that Leia dies in that film. So that didn't happen. So that meant that in some fashion, her passing away is going to have to be dealt with in episode 9. Now, we've got some more news on how they're going to deal with that. Before I get to that, I'm just going to put forward, I hadn't talked about it before, my own personal preference, because I talked to a lot of friends about this, and I heard a lot about it on various podcasts and YouTube videos that I check out and listen to and subscribe to and whatnot. What I actually think would have been the best idea is the thing that a lot of people seem to dismiss out of hand. I actually think the best approach, and it wouldn't have been ideal, but given the circumstances, I think the best approach would have been to actually have her die off screen between episodes. And no, you don't just have it in the crawl and move on. You have it in the crawl, but you actually open the film with her funeral, so that way you get the weight of her loss on the story, on the characters, and it becomes an appropriate level of acknowledgement of Carrie Fisher's passing. That's what I think would have been the best way to do it. Now, that's not what they're doing. So word is that she is going to appear in episode 9, not through CGI, not recreated CGI footage anyways. I'm sure there'll be CGI to put her into backgrounds or whatever, but they're going to, for her, they are going to use existing footage that was already shot. Will this work? It's hard to say, because it's going to depend almost entirely on the footage that they have, because depending on what they have, it may be possible to orchestrate, to get her into the story and orchestrate a really fitting send-off and climax for the character, or it may come across really ham-fisted and really forced in, and it could be really bad. And it's gonna really hinge on what they actually have for footage. Now, if I'm extending some benefit of the doubt, which at this point Star Wars has kind of earned from me in terms of what we've gotten from the film so far and how they appear to be handling as a franchise, I'll extend some benefit of the doubt. I would like to think that they wouldn't be doing this approach if they weren't sure that the footage they have will work well and they didn't have a plan for it. And my sort of doubling down on that is the fact that Carrie Fisher's kids have signed off on this. And I would also like to think that they wouldn't have done that if there wasn't a clear plan and that they knew she was going to be well represented and properly sent off. Because I mean, they weren't going to sign off on the CGI recreation of her. So it seems pretty clear to me that her kids care about her legacy as an actress and also as this iconic character. So that gives me some hope that what they have, they can work well with. I can't imagine she's going to be featured very heavily. And whether or not they'll cop to this, I have no doubt there's going to have to be a stand-in at some points. If, you know, shots from the back, if nothing else, so that they can more easily put her into situations where, you know, she wasn't filmed before. So if they're putting her into this, in some way, she is going to pass away as a character in episode 9. Whether it is going to be tragic, heroic, whether it is going to be something that she does willfully to save others, whether it is something that it happens to her, I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to go, if they were going to pick something, it's going to be big, it's going to be grand, it's going to be epic, it's going to be a sacrifice, it's going to be something she chooses to do. Because just, you know, with the character and also not wanting to sort of repeat the notes of Han's death, but given the nature of Leia as a character, and also given the nature of Carrie Fisher as a person and as an actress, I think their natural inclination is going to be she goes out on her own terms, whatever those end up being. So that's the news. And as I said, right now I'm kind of neutral on this news because I still personally feel just opening with her funeral would have been the best way to do it. But I say that, again, not knowing the footage that they have. And the footage that they have could slot perfectly. And we won't know for a little over a year and a half, because this is episode 9 coming out not even next year after that. So 2019, because we get the main numbered entries in the saga every 2 years. I forgot exactly how the Star Wars release schedule was working. So it's going to be a while till we find out if what they did is actually a good idea. Because as I said, it's going to hinge on the footage that they have. But as a plan, could work. We'll see. What are your thoughts on this latest sort of bit of news in terms of how Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia are going to be handled in Star Wars Episode 9? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments and let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.